Welcome to the Cohn Zone. I'm Little Cohn, Grant Cohn. That's Big Cohn, Lowell Cohn. He's back in his office. I'm back in my bedroom. It's like nothing ever happened. It's like you never had back surgery. You're out and about, out in the town, going out with my mom. How are things, Dad?
Things are great. In fact, this afternoon I have outpatient physical therapy, and I can drive myself there. I take my cane and I hobble in. I do my exercises. I'm coming back. And you know what, Iggy? Life is good. I'm feeling great.
It's nice to be back out in the world, right? It's like it's been a while.
I forgot what it's like. It's a nice world out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the world and I like life.
Yeah, it's a good place to be. Good place to be. All right. So we've been having this little conversation about the Jets and the Niners, whether or not Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh had a double secret private conversation out of respect to one another, letting each other know where each other stands. So now that we've been thinking about that for maybe 2-3 weeks, how likely do you think it is that the Jets know who the Niners are taking and vice versa?
Okay, I just want to add a little to your preamble, not only out of respect for each other, but out of love for each other. Right, because they're such close friends.
They're brothers.
Brothers. Yeah. And Bobby Saleh. They're just really close friends. And, they're on the horn all the time. So I'm going to take this one and you take that one. And, I want to give you a leg up. Here's what I say. I am not in the confidence of either man, but I covered the NFL for a long time. There is no way. Iggy, there is no way they are talking to each other. In fact, there is every way they're not talking to each other. First of all, I don't think they're that close.
Second, they have a business relationship. They're not family.
Business relationship.
Yeah.
He never called him Robert. He called him Saleh all the time.
That's right. Yeah.
Which is a distancing thing to do.
Yeah.
Now they're out and out competitors in the league and for draft choices. So I would say no way. What do you think, Iggy?
No way. Absolutely not. It seems to me that there's a million. What Kyle could have done is say, Robert, come on, man, give me something here. Like, you don't have to tell me who you're going to take, but tell me who you're not going to take. Are you not going to take Zach Wilson? And all Saleh has to say, and it's not even a lie, is, man, there's a lot of time left. There's a lot of time. What do you want from me, man? I mean, I could tell you we like him. Things change. We could get an offer. Someone could have, a DUI. Things change. It's a fluid process. So I think Saleh could weasel out of that one easily. Hey, sorry, Kyle. I mean, it's not my call. It's the GM's call, and he hasn't even made his mind up yet. Easy way to weasel out of that. And then there's a lot of reasons that you wouldn't. I mean, say the Niners and Jets end up swapping picks on draft day. The Niners did that with the Bears 4 years ago. The Niners had pick 2, Bears had pick 3, and neither team really knew who the other one wanted. The Niners traded down thinking the Bears would take Solomon Thomas. And the Bears traded up thinking the Niners wanted Mitchell Trubisky. So they made the move one more time to get Trubisky when the Niners never wanted him in the first place. So I think it's in both teams' interest to have that mystery out there.
Also, Saleh has to learn how to do this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of bluff. It's poker. There's a lot of bluffing, and he has to learn how to do it. He's learning for the Jets. He's no longer employed by the 49ers. So we both agree there's no way they're talking. There's no way they're talking to each other. I mean, I don't even, let alone disclosing information. They're not even talking to each other.
Right. And there's some speculation that like Kyle Shanahan doesn't even tell John Lynch because he's not, it's just a need to know for Kyle and his dad. Who's to say Saleh even knows who the Jets are going to take? I mean, that's not his call. He'll have input, but that's Joe Douglas's call. It's a different setup over there. So Saleh can always say, I don't even know. Well, he'll tell me eventually.
I have a second part of this, a question.
Yes.
I want to do it 2 ways. One, the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the Jets would love to know who Kyle is going to take? And even though Kyle comes after, and why would the Jets want to know?
Well, naturally, Robert Saleh looks up to Kyle Shanahan. Robert Saleh's offensive coordinator is trying to recreate what Shanahan did, was an underling of Shanahan. I'm sure you'd like to know who they think they want. And I think it's probably nerve-wracking to know that the guy that mentored your offensive coordinator didn't try to take your pick. He went right behind you. It's almost like he's saying, you're going to mess this up.
Right.
I don't care who you take. You're going to mess this up, and I'm going to get the right guy. So it's like, Oh my God. Who does he want? He doesn't want who we want. Maybe we should want who he wants, or maybe he wants us to want who he wants so he can get who you know what I mean? Something like that. Yeah.
So
you want us to think that. Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I love it. And I agree with you. So Saleh has pressure. Yes. It's like, if I take this one, maybe he wants me to take this one, but I should really take the one he wants. I wish I knew who he wants. That's obvious. Okay, does Shanahan want to know who Saleh's going to take?
Oh my God. It's essential. It's so important that when he made the trade up, I think me and a lot of people were like, there's no way they make that trade without knowing who Saleh's going to take. How do you mortgage the future of your franchise and not even know who's going to be available? Like, oh, we'll take one of those two guys. And we like both of them. Usually you trade up for someone you know is going to be available. Like when the Washington traded up for RG3, everyone knew Andrew Luck was going to be the pick. There wasn't like, well, we hope RG3 will be there. You'd think they want to know who the Jets. Yes, absolutely. Dad, can you imagine that the Niners traded up and they're like, well, we don't exactly know who we're going to get, but we really like that spot in the draft. Okay. What if the Jets trade out? What if someone makes the Jets an offer they can't refuse at the last minute and the Jets trade out and the guy the Niners thought they were going to get isn't there? I mean, how? Yeah. That's where the conspiracy theory comes from. It's like the Niners, you can't go up without knowing, right? Right? I guess you could.
Iggy, I'm going to introduce a very interesting concept.
Please do.
Spies.
Ooh.
Spies.
Tell me. Explain.
Like, I'm using a generic. I'm not talking about Shanahan and I'm not talking about Saleh. But wouldn't a coach like to have a spy in another coaching staff and get tips?
Oh my God. Why would you not?
I want to tell you something.
Yes.
When I was a sports writer before I retired, I heard a rumor that a certain manager / coach was able to get into other coaching staffs and learn strategy and draft picks. I'm not going to say what league, and I'm not going to say who it was.
Wow.
I don't even know if it's true, but I heard a rumor that he was adept at getting into other coaching staffs.
It seems to me that these coaches want any edge they could possibly get.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
And Iggy, after we're done, we'll talk. I'll tell you who it is.
I gotta know.
Yeah, but again, it's a rumor. I never tried to corroborate it, but a well-placed source told me that, and I thought, wow, I never even thought of that. There's subterfuge, obviously, in these leagues.
Yeah, and I think one way that teams compete is for information.
Yes.
And one of the things that the Patriots were always accused for was trying to get information unethically. Everything else is pretty even with the salary cap and all the different stuff, but information. Yeah, if you had a spy on another team, and there's a lot of crossover, there's a lot of relationships between the Jets and Niners. It'd be interesting to see how the efforts they're going to confuse the other one. Because
remember, I was speaking generically. I was not speaking about Shanahan and Saleh. No. I've never heard anything like that about either of them.
All right, we got a few donations. Let's address them real quick, and then we'll get back to our regular scheduled programming. Michael Mock says, I think I'm one of the first with this idea, or maybe trying to speak it into existence. Panay Sewell at number 3. Maybe we don't need a crapshoot quarterback. Okay, what he's saying here, and it's very interesting. Instead of the quarterback, take the best player. And I've said it's Kyle Pitts, the tight end. A lot of people like this left tackle. He's so good that, you know how some years, if there isn't a quarterback that people like, an offensive tackle will go number 1? He would be one of those guys. He's great. But again, he's not a quarterback. You don't trade up that far for a non-quarterback. The only thing is, I would say, is we didn't trade up. They traded up. Now that they're there, they might want to do the right thing. Dad, what do you think?
They already got a left tackle. They paid a fortune for that left tackle. How many?
Yeah, and the right tackle we're trying to be more positive about.
Yeah. So no. I you know what? Thanks for the donation. By the way, I never see any of this money. Iggy gets everything.
That's right. I don't share it all.
Sometimes he calls me and says, Dad, we made a lot of money today. I said, we?
What do you mean we?
What do you mean we?
What is this
I'm donating my time.
The royal we? That's true.
Iggy, they got to take a quarterback. If they don't take a quarterback, I think my brains will come out my ears.
Sheerism says Kyle and John made it clear they think there's 3 guys they can win with. That's super rare to have 3 guys that are studs in one draft. Why are so many fans confident in their pick? Yeah. Why are they so confident the third best quarterback in this draft is going to be a franchise guy? That's I guess where I keep going back to other positions. Like, you're going for the third best quarterback. Good luck with that.
In addition, a lot of quarterbacks don't work out, but some quarterbacks do work out. So as opposed to you, who actually knows something, I know nothing about these players. I don't pay attention until they come into the NFL. One of the guy they get could be Joe Montana.
Could be.
I am in no position to say yes or no. And that's why I got to say, Iggy, you're getting a lot of mileage out of this draft.
It's amazing.
Which doesn't happen for another 2 weeks, right?
More than that. So thank goodness for that trade up. Otherwise, God knows where we'd be. But to this guy's point, like, I was doing a little research. Quarterbacks taken in the top 5 the last 10, 15 years. The ones that really lived up to expectations, I mean, Andrew Luck didn't even play till he was 30. Matt Ryan's still playing. He was the number 3 pick in the 2007 draft, but really overwhelmingly, almost every quarterback taken top 5 the last 10, 15 years has not been a franchise guy. You need to take the risk, but the Niners compounded the risk by trading up, and they're probably not going to get the right guy. And it's very, very troubling, but it's not my problem. Hopefully they get it right.
I disagree with you. You say they're probably not going to get the right guy. I'm going to say they may not get the right guy, but they may get the right guy. I do not see the future.
Only reason I say probably is because of history. 75% of these guys don't usually work out in the first round.
Okay.
But you got a 25% chance, historically speaking, and the Niners have a good team. All right, let's get back to our topic. Away from the draft, looking at the Niners team as currently assembled, how would you rank the top 5 players? And you can do it in order if you like, in descending order.
Okay. Just a little background on the topic. You know, we talked the night before, and then we talked the morning of the Cohn Zone, Zohn.
Yes.
And we do topics, and this is one I came up with. You know, we've done a lot of draft. What about the team itself, as is currently comprised? Who are their 5 best players in descending orders? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I made a list. I think Iggy's list is different. I'm going to look at it because I forget things. But this is my list. Number 5, the running back Mostert. Iggy, I love the way he runs.
I do too.
Know, I was when I was younger, I ran track, and so I could see his stride. Holy mackerel! And he's elusive. He's powerful. Now he's not as durable as I'd like, but I'm going to use a strange word for an athlete. He's a gorgeous running back.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to knock a running back for durability because all of them get hurt. All of them.
Yes.
All of them.
So I think he's incredibly valuable to the team. I think he's really, really a star. I just love to watch him work. Now,
real quick, this is from Luis. It's 100 pesos, and he's from Mexico, and he says, I hope this goes to Lowell. Get a fine bottle of wine from Valle de Guadalupe in Baja. Luis, I promise I will get my dad a nice Mexican red with this. So thank you.
Muchas gracias, Luis.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Okay, let's get back to your list.
Number 4, the cornerback, Verrett. Iggy, he's a player.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and not only is he a player, he came in with a lot of doubts about his durability. And you know, the Niners made a really shrewd, let's give them all the credit. They saw him, they took a chance, and it worked out. He has made their secondary from mezzo to a very good secondary.
Yeah, to the strength of the defense. Yes.
And it has to be in these days with all the passing and how hard it is to get to a quarterback. So I think not only is Verrett number 4 for me, but he's really a mark of that. Sometimes this team really does do it correctly, and all praise to them.
Yeah.
Number 3 would be the load at left tackle that they probably overpaid for.
Yeah.
But Iggy, he's really something. He's a steamroller.
And he's been doing it for 10 years. He's proven.
He's a steamroller, baby.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I like that. Trent Williams, number 3. Who's number 2?
Okay, number 2, the tight end Kittle. I love him. Now, again, I don't know him. I never met him, but he's got a real twinkle in his eye, Iggy.
Yes.
And he plays around with you. He seems to like you a lot. And people who like you, I like them.
I haven't seen an athlete have this much fun with the media since Brian Wilson.
Yes, Brian Wilson. What a character. He was wonderful.
Yeah.
I really liked him.
Yeah. And I kind of even like Kittle a little bit more. Brian Wilson was almost a little bit, he tried a little too hard, but he was cool. Kittle it's easy. It seems like he's just being himself.
And he's really a good tight end. He's maybe the best tight end in the league. He's tough. He blocks. He does everything. And when he gets on the line of scrimmage, he says, "How's it going, bro?"
What's up, dog? What's up, dog?
Oh, that's what he says.
What's up, dog? What's up, dog? How you doing?
I think he's wonderful.
I just
okay. Best player on the team, Fred Warner.
I agree.
Best player on the team. I mean, again, I wish I could meet him, Iggy. Yeah. I wish I could meet Kittle, and I wish I could meet Warner for different reasons. Kittle to joke around with, like I used to joke around with Brent Jones, same kind of guy.
Yeah.
Tight end.
Yeah.
Warner, for his deep down seriousness.
He's extremely serious, and he's about 3 years younger than Kittle. When you talk to Warner, it's like you're talking to an extension of Robert Saleh, but he's 20 years younger than Saleh. It's remarkable.
I just would love to meet him, and I have so much respect for, first of all, his intellectual knowledge of defense. Also, Iggy, he plays hard.
He does.
I mean, he's like, he'll knock you out like Ronnie Lott.
Yeah, absolutely. Thing about him also, he's so smart. He's so durable. He's everything. He's like DeForest Buckner. He's a stoic, mature leader. He's the quarterback and brains of the defense. He makes the calls. He's never misses a game. He plays hard when they're up 30. He plays hard when they're down 30. I mean, he's like the perfect player in every single way. And that's why I would put him over George Kittle too. George Kittle missed 8 games last year. Warner, I don't think has ever missed a game, ever. So, yeah, Warner's the best middle linebacker in the league. Yeah.
And, I think that the 5 that we named, and we could name a top 10, but I think 5 was enough. The 5 that I named, every team.
And there's an honorable mention. There's some honorable mentions. I mean, Nick Bosa, if he can come back and do what he did again as a rookie, he's easy.
He needs to prove it. Yes.
Do it again. Yeah. Do it again. Brandon Ayuk seems like he's right on the cusp. If he can do it again.
I love him. Yeah.
Debo, if he could bounce back, he was such a non-factor last year, but it was because of injuries. They have a lot of guys who are on the cusp, and you can make arguments for them.
They're in the next 5, 10 to 6. I would like to know your top 5.
I like yours. I like yours a lot. I mean, I think I might take Raheem Mostert out of it because if we're going to dock Nick Bosa for his durability, I think you could probably knock Raheem Mostert as well. So if I took Mostert out, you could put in, Kyle Juszczyk's a hell of a player.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Kyle Juszczyk's a hell of a player.
And really important.
Extremely important. I might go with Kyle Juszczyk at number 5. Perennial Pro Bowler.
Persuasive, Iggy. That's persuasive. Yeah. And I do, for people who are watching now, this is a very talented team, Iggy.
It is. It really is.
We lost track of it last year because there were so many injuries, and part of that is just bad luck. You can't use it as an excuse, but maybe you can't blame them for it. I don't know what the dynamic was, but this is a really, really talented group. Now, I want to point one other thing out.
Yeah.
There are certain people we left off. We didn't even put him in the second 5, and I'd like to name 2 in particular. Eric Armstead. You would not have put him in your top 10, would you, Iggy?
No. Top 10? No. Maybe not. Borderline. I mean, he's a good player, but he's way overpaid. He's a good player. I mean, he's a pretty good player, but he should be better than he is. He should be better than he is.
Is he an impact player?
No. He's not an impact player. No. Good against the run, but he's not disciplined. He will continue. He's a terrible defensive end. My God, he will continuously let the quarterback leave the pocket. When it's like, you're not going to get the sack, just don't let him leave. No, he's going to let him leave. As a defensive tackle, he's pretty good, but if he's the second, he's like in a pitching rotation. He's a good 4th pitcher. He's Jeff Samardzija.
He's Samardzija. I was just going to say he's Samardzija.
He's Samardzija. So,
Okay, and I'll tell you someone else we left out. Garoppolo.
Oh, yeah.
He does not make my top 10, Iggy. Does he make yours?
No. Now, if he could stay healthy, despite his limited skill set, you could say, look, I'm a franchise quarterback. I win. I got to be in the top 5. But he can't stay healthy. And any quarterback that is in and out that much is a problem. And why don't we get to that right now? And let's flip it over and say the 5 worst starters currently on the team. Not the worst players, because we don't need to pick on 23-year-old guys making $400,000. But guys who are starters.
This is a Grant Cohn topic. Why don't you go 5 to 1 worst starters?
Okay.
Ending with the absolute worst starter.
The absolute worst
starter. So you start with the 5th. And the first is the absolute worst.
All right. I don't mean to be personal here, and I'm not making fun of the guy, and I hope he proves me wrong. But right now, I got to say that Mike McGlinchey is the worst starter on the team. He looked like he was underweight. He was getting pushed around. It was a tough season for him, but he could bounce back. If 285-pound Mike McGlinchey is the worst starting right tackle in the league and the worst starter in the Niners. But if he could get his strength back, his weight back, and he could be a serviceable starter for them again, which is what he was a couple of years ago. So right now, I think it's McGlinchey, worst starter.
Okay, Iggy, do you have a personal message for McGlinchey about?
Yes. I apologize for taking so much glee in continuously critiquing you. That's not even the word. Making fun of you last year. It was too much. I got my point across. I made videos and music videos and stuff. That's enough. At this point, I'm rooting for you to prove me wrong. I don't want to be right about you. I hope that you have a bounce back season and a fruitful, successful career. Sincerely, I feel that way.
Iggy, I want to follow up with that. Will you be allowed in the locker room this season?
Not sure.
If you are, you should go over and shake his hand.
I will.
If he will shake your hand.
Yeah, I will. Okay. I sincerely will. All right.
Keep going with your list.
Number 4, I'm going to put Laken Tomlinson. I don't talk about him as much. He's the left guard. I think he's right there with Mike McGlinchey as guys who are hurting the 49ers passing game and quarterback. He's a strong guy, but he gets beat way too much in pass protection, just like McGlinchey. He's equally part of the problem. He's on the left side, Laken Tomlinson. Then number 3, Jaquiski Tart. He's a good player, but he misses half of every season. And we have a problem with that on the 49ers. Number 4, Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy Garoppolo, right there. I think that's why no one really knows what to make of the 49ers next year, because their starting quarterback, how many games will he even play? How many games?
And will he be the starter?
And will he be the starter? And then the final one, that rookie they drafted last year, Javon Kinlaw. I don't know about him. He might be the next Solomon Thomas. They're different body types, but he had 1.5 sacks last year and 4 quarterback hits. He was kind of just on the field trying to figure things out, but he wasn't doing anything. I got questions about that guy, their first-round pick last year. So those 4, Kinlaw, McGlinchey, Tomlinson. 5, Garoppolo, Tart. 2 because of injuries, Garoppolo and Tart. 2 underperforming first-round picks, McGlinchey. Well, Tomlinson 2. McGlinchey, Tomlinson, and the other guy, Kinlaw. So that's my list. What do you think?
I love it. And again, I want to make it clear to our viewers, Grant is not rooting against them.
No.
He's just trying to be honest. And in fact, in each case, I think you'd be happy if they had a breakout season.
Absolutely. Yes. I don't need to be right about anything or anyone. And I should probably stop. Joe Staley said it the best. Like, okay, you got your point across. Do another player now. Okay, I'll move on.
Meaning,
and I'll be more positive. Yeah. You don't have to do it every week. All right. Let's do some predictions.
Okay.
We've already
mentioned on my list here. Hold on.
Yeah. We've already talked about how we think Jimmy Garoppolo is now the most interesting person on the team. He has the most to lose. Where do you think he will be in 5 years? You know that exercise when you're in high school or when you're in a job interview? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see Jimmy in 5 years?
When I went up to the, I was leaving the Chronicle and I went up to the Press Democrat. The sports editor, Jimmy Jenks, actually said to me, "Where do you expect to be in 5 years?" I ended up staying there 22 years, and he left the next year. But okay, so it's
where do you see yourself in 5 years, bud? Yeah.
So okay. Where will Jimmy Garoppolo be in 5 years? I have a very definite answer to that, Iggy.
Before you answer, go ahead. Out of the league. He could be a starter somewhere else and totally back in the saddle like he was a couple of years ago. He could be a backup, a long-term backup for the Patriots, but he's an awfully rich person to do all that grunt work for someone else. I agree. If he can't, I think he'll get a couple more chances to be a starter. He'll probably be a starter somewhere this year, week 1, maybe again week 2. I mean, next year, week 1, but eventually he'll keep getting hurt. Teams will stop wanting to give him chances, and he won't be that attractive anymore, and he'll leave the league. What do you think?
Also, I don't think he has the fire.
Yeah.
I don't think he has the fire. I just read Steve Young's autobiography. I don't know why it had taken me so long to read it. It's a hell. I don't usually like sports books. It was wonderful. And one of the things you come away with Steve, he would never give up. He had chances to leave the Niners and he wouldn't leave, even though Joe was ahead of him. He wanted to test himself.
Yes.
Against Joe Montana. Yes. I don't see that in Jimmy. Now, again, I never have met Jimmy. It's just a gut feeling I have, Iggy. But I believe out of the league in 5 years.
Yeah, I always got the feeling with Jimmy that he never thought he could beat out Tom Brady. He just knew he was 15 years younger than Tom Brady. And if he smiled and was patient and worked hard, that he would eventually inherit Tom Brady's job like a hand-me-down. And it didn't happen. And he's never had to really win a competition ever in the NFL. And yet he still made $100 million. So I don't know that he's ever going to have that type of determination to prove himself the way Steve Young did. Steve Young did make $100 million in his first 30 starts. It's ridiculous.
Jimmy's going to have competition this year.
Yeah.
He's going to have to beat somebody out this year.
He certainly, and for the rest of his life.
For the rest of his life. And again, I applaud the 49ers for finally introducing competition at quarterback. There are certain things I really applaud. This should have happened a long time before.
So you don't think the Niners are lying and that they're going to trade this dude on draft night, Jimmy?
I have no idea what they're going to do with Jimmy. I mean, unless they have someone to replace him with, you can't just have a rookie quarterback. There has to be someone else in that room.
Well, let me tell you something that we didn't talk about. This happened since our last show. The Niners signed a quarterback. His name is Nate Sudfeld. He's just a long-term backup. He's about 27. But Rich Scangarello worked with him in Philly. He's back, so they like each other. They gave him $250,000 guaranteed, which is a nice chunk of change for someone who you might cut. What do you think of that?
It puzzles me. What do you think of it?
I think he's going to make the team. You don't just give away $250,000. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot. And if he's going to be on the team, he could be the third string quarterback behind a rookie and Jimmy. Or
so that means
Rosen's out. Yeah, it means Rosen's out. Or it could mean that the quarterbacks next year will be Rosen, Sudfeld, and a rookie, and Jimmy's out. But one of those two guys are out, I would think. Jimmy or Rosen. So I don't know. We shall see. All right, let's go to another prediction. Where do you think Fred Warner will be in 5 years? We don't talk about him every week, but we want to keep him on the front of our minds because they haven't re-signed him yet, and he needs a new contract. And we saw what they did to DeForest Buckner in a similar situation last year. What do you think with Fred?
Okay, I'm going to answer it in a strange way.
Okay.
Instead of saying where I think he'll be, I'm going to say where I hope he'll be.
Okay.
With the Niners.
Yeah, because how can you answer that the other question? But he should be with the 49ers.
Oh,
I hope he's
unless he gets injured, like Navarro Bowman, unless something like that happens. Otherwise, this is the guy you hold on to until he no longer can perform. Yeah. But my answer would be, of everybody on that team, he's the one I want to hold on to. And if Iggy, one thing, they haven't signed him, which is not a good sign. But on the other hand, you don't hear any complaining.
No.
Unless I'm missing something. You don't hear any complaining from his agent. I have a feeling that they're talking and it's amicable and a deal is imminent. But you would know better than I would.
Absolutely. It seems like last year with Kittle, that got done right before training camp. It's a deadline business, and the deadline is the first practice. I'm not going to step on that field and risk an injury until you pay me. And that's how it went down with Kittle. That's how it could go down with Warner. Because he's not a free agent. He has a year left on his deal. It's a courtesy you do for a great player. We're not going to make you have a lame duck season. You earned it. We're going to pay you, but we're going to drag it out right until the end because it's still a negotiation.
Right. So, look, I'm confident that he will get a contract extension. look, Iggy, if they don't give him an extension, they're nuts. But they gave Kittle an extension last year.
Yes.
So I'm confident he'll get an extension. I don't read the future. I would like to think he'll be a Niner in 5 years.
Yeah, I think it's more likely that he's going to have the Kittle future rather than the Buckner future, because Buckner, they didn't draft Buckner. Buckner wanted to be paid comparable to the highest paid defensive tackle. They didn't feel he was that good. And so maybe he's the third best defensive tackle or the second best. So they traded him. Well, Kittle's the best tight end. They agreed. They paid him as such. Warner's the best middle linebacker. They've said so. You don't trade the best player at his position because there's no way to upgrade. He's the best. Why do you want? What are you doing? So yes, they'll have to re-sign him, and it'll probably happen in August.
I still can't get over what happened with Buckner.
It was such a mistake, and then it makes you wonder, why are we confident the Niners are going to get this right at number 3? But I don't want to be negative. Real quick, Rod Simmons brings up a question that was going to be our last, but he asked it. I think it predicts it. Why don't we go to it now? Rod says, Lowell, respectfully, sir, what's the odds we convince Green Bay to take pick 3 for Rodgers? They're running out of options. That was actually one of our topics, so let's go right to it. We know the Packers drafted a quarterback last year. That's strange. He's now entering his second year. He hasn't played yet. Aaron Rodgers getting older. They got to move on from him eventually. Should the 49ers call him up, offer number 3 and whatever else is necessary to get Aaron Rodgers?
How about number 3 and Jimmy?
I like it. I don't know if it's enough, but I like it.
How about you offer Green Bay? We're just playing now. This is fantasy.
Yes.
You offer, because it's not going to happen. You offer them number 3 and Jimmy, which is very attractive.
Yes.
For Aaron Rodgers. Would I make the deal? In a New York minute.
So would I. And I see people in the comment section over here being like, no, don't do it. I think a lot of people like the idea of having a young quarterback. The way I feel about it is I don't like these quarterbacks. I don't trust any of them except for the guy who's going number 1 that the Niners won't take. I'll just give them Aaron Rodgers, win a Super Bowl, worry about the future another time.
Could I add something?
Please.
Tom Brady.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Get Aaron Rodgers.
Tom Brady, who won the Super Bowl. You're going to now pass on Aaron in our fantasy here. You're going to now pass on Aaron Rodgers. It's like, how stupid. How many chances do you want?
How many chances? How many Hall of Famers are you going to say, nah, it's not the Hall of Famer I'm looking for? This is not the Hall of Famer I'm looking for. We're going to draft some kid and say that he's going to be a Hall of Famer. Probably not.
Yeah. So, if they could get Aaron Rodgers, plus the PR value, the guy's from Northern California. He went to Cal. He's intelligent. You know what I mean?
And he's great. He's better than any quarterback the Niners are going to get at number 3. Come on, it's Aaron Rodgers. I don't care how old he is. He could play for another 7 years. Look at Tom Brady.
Yeah. So we would agree it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. And the way I look at it is, I really am baffled by this trade up. It makes sense if they wanted Watson, were waiting for Watson, then that fell apart, and they turned to this as a backup plan. Because they could have traded for Stafford. He's cheaper than this number 3 pick. They could have traded for Darnold. He's cheaper than this number 3 pick and better than Mac Jones or whoever they're being rumored to take. They could have done all this stuff. So maybe instead of they have this number 3 pick now, maybe it was a panic move. Call up the Packers and see if they want it, because that would make a whole lot more sense than taking a 21-year-old that you don't know.
Okay, let's go down this narrative with Aaron Rodgers. First of all, if they were to get him, you know how the Niners used to have these really big press conferences? They'd get, a hotel in San Francisco and they'd a ballroom, and they could, like they did with Harbaugh.
Yes.
They could do that with Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
They could have a coronation.
Oh my God. A parade. Right down Market Street. And it would go forever. Yes.
Yeah. And so the point is, what a public relations coup to get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and they say they have a Super Bowl window. They say they're in a win now mode. They re-signed all these 30-year-old veterans to 1-year deals. What future? You don't have any first-round picks in the future. You have Matthew Stafford in the division, Russell Wilson. They're in their 30s. Get Aaron Rodgers, win the Super Bowl, and worry about the fallout after it, because that's a good problem to have.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask you a very tough question.
Yes,
my phone's ringing.
It's all right.
Okay.
It's all right.
Okay. Tell me one reason the Niners would choose not to get Aaron Rodgers if they could.
Kyle Shanahan's ego.
Right.
Kyle Shanahan's ego. He wouldn't be able to get enough credit. I think Kyle Shanahan would settle for no less than 50% credit, although I think he wants 51. He wants a 51-49 split. That's why he likes these non-athletic quarterbacks, because if they have success, Kyle's like, well, no one else could do it with this non-athlete except for me.
Iggy, you figured it out right away.
Of course. Yeah.
It's Kyle Shanahan's ego. And may I just enlarge? You got it. But I would like to enlarge. It's not only credit, it's he's not going to want Aaron Rodgers to disagree with him.
That's right. Look at the treatment that Tom Brady has in Tampa. He's the head coach and the general manager. Anything he wants to do, Aaron says, go for it. You're Tom Brady. Any player he wants on the team, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, go for it. You make the call, Tom. We love you. Thanks for coming to Tampa Bay. That's what Aaron Rodgers is going to want. That's what any quarterback's going to want. Be like, why can't that work? If Tom Brady can make the calls like Tom Brady and like LeBron James and win, why can't I? The Niners won't do that. They won't just give the team to Aaron Rodgers. Some other team will. Some other team will be happy to.
How about this? They're in a crucial situation in a game. Kyle calls a play. Hold on. Aaron goes, timeout, walks aside and says, I'm not going to run that play.
Right.
I don't like this play.
Right. The problem is the difference. Tom Brady would just handle it. He would just call the play he wanted, and he would let Kyle Shanahan deal with it on his own. Aaron Rodgers is a little bit more like, fine, I'll do what you want to do, and then I'll roll my eyes, and I'll show you up. It's like, Aaron, just take control, man. Take control. Tom Brady doesn't have a problem doing that. Rodgers will just give that look. Fine, we'll do it your way.
You go.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Kyle, I know you watch our show every week. Trade for Aaron Rodgers. You don't have to make this mistake. You have a 75% chance of getting it wrong just based on historical precedent. Get Aaron Rodgers. I guarantee he's really good. I've watched his tape. I've watched him very closely. He's a hell of a player.
And also, if you don't get along with Aaron, you can go into therapy together.
Yeah. I'll be the intermediary. I'll be the designated interactor between the two of you. I'll work it out. I got good people skills. All right.
Good people. You're good people.
I'm good people. I'm good people. All right. Last topic of the day. Let me get that thing off the screen. All right. We verge onto the negative sometimes, although we're a very positive show. So let's end on a positive note. Are the 49ers the team to beat in the NFC West? And even if they aren't, let's say that they are, or make the case that they could be.
Okay. I think they are.
All right. Tell me why.
Let me start off. Let me start off with why the other teams aren't.
All right. Okay.
Arizona, forget them. Can we just write them off, Arizona?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're talking about two teams.
Yes.
Seattle is a very good team, but basically they're a quarterback who runs around a lot.
Yes. Who's getting older?
Who gets hit, who's been getting hit, sacked a lot. They have a crummy offensive line.
It's worse than the Niners.
Yeah. So it's still a very good team, but it's not an elite team, I don't think.
It's not getting better. It's slowly eroding and getting you're right.
And although the Rams got Matthew Stafford, and you say, oh, they got Matthew Stafford, they're going to win the Super Bowl. You got to do it. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, Matthew Stafford has been the most mediocre quarterback his entire life. And people still think he has promise because he has a strong arm and he's been on a bad team, but really, he's like a 500 quarterback. So we'll see what he does. I mean, the Niners beat the Rams last year with freaking Nick Mullins. So we'll see about the Rams.
And what I want to say about the Niners, obviously, we have issues about quarterback, but they do too, and they're trying to figure it out.
Yes.
They're a hell of a team, Iggy, on offense and defense. And they're, in terms of talent, I think they're the best team in their division.
Who are we talking? The Niners?
The Niners.
The Niners. Because with the Rams are losing a lot. They lost their defensive coordinator. He's now the head coach somewhere. They've lost a lot of their assistant coaches because they've been such a hot team the last 3 years. Every position coach, coordinator has been promoted and taken other places. So they're kind of gutted right now. And they have a ton of money wrapped up in two quarterbacks. They're still paying Jared Goff. They couldn't get him off the books. So they have a team that's kind of thin in other places. They have big weaknesses.
And I'll say it again. I think the Niners are the most talented team in the division. And I want everybody to hear that.
Yeah.
Grant and I are agreeing on this, that the Niners are the most talented team in the division. their issue, I believe, is quarterback, but they're aware of it and they're working on it. And we don't know what their solution is. I'm not going to write them off saying they're going to louse it up. Let's see. I'm open-minded. But I think they are the team to beat in their division. And you know what? I don't cover them anymore, but I empathize with you. I'd want to cover the team, one, that I think is the best team in the division, and two, that has a problem to solve. That has a puzzle, not a problem, a puzzle, the quarterback puzzle. I want to see how they'll do it. These are two dramatic possibilities that, for me, would really pump me up to cover a team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to remember why more people don't think the 49ers are the team to beat in the NFC West. It's all about Garoppolo. If Jimmy Garoppolo could stay healthy for 16 games, I think the Niners would be the consensus team to beat in the NFC West. Everyone would think they're the best, but they have the worst quarterback in the division who can't even stay healthy, and that's a deal break. No one takes that team seriously. No one takes that team seriously.
Yeah, it's the big issue with that team.
But think about it. If they could count on Jimmy, he's good enough. If he could just stay healthy, he's good enough. And they'd be in a position where they'd have a good quarterback, a serviceable plus quarterback, the number 3 pick in the draft, and the ability to pick someone who's going to be a Hall of Famer, a Hall of Fame tackle, a Hall of Fame tight end. They'd be thinking, oh my God, this team's an all-star team. But that's not where they are. They're now having to either take a quarterback who could totally not work out or trade for Aaron Rodgers. They got to get creative, and they have to get this right. Otherwise, all that talent will be wasted.
Okay, I'm going to say something. You made a very good point. They have to get creative. Iggy, I'm saying that they'll get creative.
All right.
I'm going to give them a vote of confidence.
Me too. Me too.
Okay.
I'm giving them a vote of confidence, and Mike McGlinchey as well.
Of confidence. They're in the position to move ahead. Look. John Lynch is as bright as we are. He went to Stanford. You didn't even go to Stanford. You got rejected.
I know, and I was a legacy. They were like, "Oh, we really probably should let him in, right?"
You got on the waiting list, but you didn't get in.
Let's put him on the wait list. Let's put him on the wait list. Yeah,
we'll put them on the wait list. So, in any event, he's a smart guy. I think he understands better than we do what he's up against. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm optimistic. They're going to really be able to figure this out with Jimmy, or a combination of Jimmy and somebody else, or somebody else. I'm going to say I'm picking them to win their division.
Ooh, I like it. I'm not going to go that far, but I'm not going to pick against them. I like it, Dad. All right, let's answer some questions. A couple. Melvin the Magnificent donates $25, which is going to me and not my dad. Thank you, Melvin. First, I want to say, Lowell, you were an awesome dude. Can you adopt me? No, I'm an only child. Absolutely not. Grant, will you be live for draft night? I got to figure out the format for draft night. Let me get back to you on that. I'll be live at some point. I don't know if I can be live during the picks because I have to write articles and do other things. So at some point I will be, but probably not the entire time.
Yeah, he has a job.
I got a job. Yeah, it's a thing.
He works for the great Sports Illustrated.
John says, easy. Take Pitts at 3 and draft Kellen Mond in the 2nd. That's what I would do. I know my dad thinks it's crazy. I know you can't. They didn't trade up to take Kyle Pitts. But here's the thing, Dad. It's funny. I found a quote from Kyle Shanahan from 2018 from the draft saying, if there is another Julio Jones out there, you trade up for him. It doesn't matter the price. There's not that many of him on the planet. Well, this guy's even bigger and faster than Julio Jones. I know they didn't do it, but if they did it, I would be so impressed. Because they would get so much flack from the media, but it just might work out. Who cares what the media think? Everyone praised him when they drafted Solomon Thomas. I don't know if you remember that. They drafted Solomon Thomas and Reuben Foster in the same day, and people said, this is John Lynch coming out swinging. So you never know. Media doesn't know. Anyway.
No, the media doesn't know, including us.
Right. We don't know. John, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your nice.
No, I got another topic.
Oh, I like a topic. Let's do a topic.
I just said that Iggy has a job. He works for Sports Illustrated. I want to give you a little background.
Okay.
When I was a young man, I'd gotten out of Stanford. I was 26, and I started to be a freelance writer. My dad, who was a lawyer, wanted me to be a lawyer, but I didn't want to be a lawyer. And I said I wanted to be a writer. And my parents, they were so supportive, like I am of Iggy, and they were lovely. But they were scared, how do you make it as a writer? And I had confidence. So I started sending stuff into Sports Illustrated when it was, at that time, it was wonderful magazine. Iggy, the writers who wrote it was like the New Yorker for sports, and they liked me.
Of course.
And I published a bunch of things in Sports Illustrated. Finally, I got a big feature, and a few weeks after the feature came out, I sent it over to the Chronicle, and they hired me right away as a columnist. I had jumped. I'm sorry, sweetie.
Was it the
Tiff? Yeah, the triple jumper. I'm proud of that article.
It's great. It's a great article.
So my break came. I was able to leverage Sports Illustrated to the Chronicle. So for years, I was telling Iggy, you got to do what I did, because I only knew what I did. It's Sports Illustrated. So he sent stuff into them, and they liked Iggy. Iggy is a hell of a writer. He doesn't write that much anymore. Iggy is a hell of a writer. And
he had $3,000 for one article when I was 27.
$3,000.
And they were going to put it in the magazine, but it got bumped because Serena Williams unexpectedly won Wimbledon, and that's the way it goes. But they still paid me $3,000 for it.
And so instead of being in the magazine, and it was scheduled for the magazine, he got paid magazine rates, but they ran it on the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they paid me for another one, a second one.
Yeah. So it looked like Sports Illustrated, but then there were a lot of changes at Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, they got bought and sold like 5 times in the last 5 years.
So finally, a year ago, the new owners of Sports Illustrated contacted Iggy and gave him his big break. So what I said came out to be true in a way I didn't understand.
Yes.
But Sports Illustrated has been wonderful to both me and you, Iggy.
It made our dreams come true both times, yours and mine. Yes. Thank you so much, Sports Illustrated, for allowing the Cohn family business to exist.
I love Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, me
so
too.
that's the story about how Iggy and I both got started with Sports Illustrated and because of Sports Illustrated.
Absolutely. And I got a bunch of people in the comment section who's saying, what's this Iggy thing? I guess, we haven't said it in a few months. So I'll say it real quick. I have an older brother. He's my half brother. He's 12 years older than me. And as I was acquiring language, Iggy or Igaloo was a sound that I just couldn't stop making because it's a great sound. I mean, you say it a few times. So my brother said that was my nickname. He started calling me Iggy, and my parents thought, what a great way to have them bond, to have Brian name him. So when that became the official family nickname, it was no longer cool, and he's never called me that since then, but everyone else does. That's the story.
Everybody through high school,
everyone.
Iggy.
Yes.
In fact, when you got married 2 years ago, Savannah, who did the service, called you Iggy.
Yes.
So my wife, Dawn, and I, my wife is Iggy's mom, and Brian is her son from a first marriage. We still call you Iggy.
Yes.
I mean, would it sound strange to you if I called you Grant?
Yes, I think I was in trouble or something.
Grant, go to your room.
Grant Lawrence! No, I'm Grant Lawrence. No.
Hey, Iggy. Yeah. Well, and just tell the story. A couple of years ago, you were going down Broadway in Oakland. Did you tell that story? No, I got to start it. What are those things you were on? What is it called?
Okay, so in cities, they have these scooters, like electric scooters that you can rent. And before I got the job at SI, I was looking for ways to save some money, and Uber is a little expensive. So they're like a cheaper way to do Uber, and you can go a couple miles here and there.
And you were going to the Warriors.
Which is like 2 miles from my apartment, and I wasn't wearing a helmet.
So we're going up. My wife and I are going up Broadway. Here comes Iggy the other way, and we see he's not wearing a helmet. And she goes, "Hey, he's not wearing a helmet. Like he's 30 years old, So I do this U-turn. I'm flying down Broadway after Iggy because we want to yell at him. So he doesn't know. Finally, he gets right in front of the Warriors. He gets off this little thing. And you're locking it up, right? And we pull up, Mom goes down, pulls down the window, and she says, "You're in trouble.
You're grounded, mister." I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. It's not what it looks like."
You said you went back to childhood right then and there, right?
I was like, "Oh, you caught me red-handed." No.
You're in trouble.
I'll go home right now. I promise. I'll go home right now. I'm so sorry.
I was laughing.
That's a good story, yeah.
All right.
Well, hold on. Shirism says, Grant, do you think they need to make a change to the strengthened medical staff? Even in 2019, they were injured. You remember Tom Abdenauer? You're friends with Tom Abdenauer.
We're friends.
You know, the Warriors had an issue like with this 10 years ago when I was a kid, and they always blamed Abdenauer, the fans. It's not his fault. He's trying to help.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Tommy Abdenauer is a trainer deluxe. He's brilliant, and he's a great guy. I don't know what went on with him and the Warriors, but I never would blame Tommy, and I would never blame a doctor, and I would never blame a training staff. I'm not there. These people go to school to learn what they do, and they are so sincere. So no, I don't blame them.
I don't like that. They're trying to help. They're not the problem.
Right.
Melvin's back. He says, Lowell, do you miss New York? How old were you when you left? Do you ever think about covering New York sports teams back in the day? I love this question.
When I was a kid, I never thought about, I always thought I was going to be like, you know, an English professor. I left New York at the age of 16 to go to college in Pennsylvania, to Lafayette College. But I spent every summer and vacations at home in Brooklyn. So I didn't officially leave New York until I was almost 21 when I came out to Stanford for graduate school. I never wanted to cover New York teams. I'm a New Yorker in California, and I stand out from that. If I were in New York, I would just be another big mouth New York guy. So no, I never wanted that. I love California. I loved going to Stanford. I love living in the East Bay on this hill I live on. Now, do I miss New York? I go back. I used to go back once a year, but I'm older now, and plus there was COVID. But I certainly go back, try to go back once a year and walk around the old neighborhood. And the last time I went, Iggy and his wife Swasti came with me, and we walked my neighborhood. They saw the playground where I wrote about for Sports Illustrated. They saw Midwood High School where I went. We went into the auditorium. We walked the whole neighborhood. So I miss New York of the 1950s and 60s, not now. I miss where I grew up, and I want to say I had one of the great childhoods of America.
And, you know, when we do go to New York, it's like a 3-night stay. By the time we come back, you're always so happy to be home. And you're one of the most, you have some more pride in the Bay Area of anyone I've ever met. You love it here.
I do. I love it here. One time I remember Bill Walsh told me they were on a long road trip and they flew into San Francisco. And he said, you know, Lowell, when I got into the city at the airport, I wanted to kiss the ground. That's how I feel. After I spend time, what we do is we go to New York and then to Philly where my brother, who's gone now, and my sister live. And the last time Iggy and Swasti came, in the summer, it is so cloyingly hot. It's something that you don't experience out here. And you want to, when you get into SFO and you feel the breeze and the air, you want to kiss the ground.
Yes. And, you know, even the 4 years that I've never lived outside of California, but I did live in LA for 4 years. And LA is really nice too. It's 10 degrees warmer, which is nice, but it smells better in the Bay. And every time you get back and you get out of the plane, it's like, ooh, it's fresh. I love that. It smells great in the Bay Area. Also, after the rain, it is so clear. The view of the Bay, the view of the San Francisco from the Oakland Hills is just, there's nothing like that anywhere else. Certainly not in LA. LA, there are places there that would theoretically have nice views if you could see through the smog, but you can't. So what are you going to do? Sean says, if they get, here's the interesting thing. Here's Sean. Here's a typical Niner fan. If they got Fields, we could do well right away. He looks indecisive because wide receiver run option routes at Ohio State. Kyle can scheme his read, and he can run it off schedule better than Jim. Plus, he's stronger and tougher. So here's where the Niners stand. Kyle thought fans trusted him, but they don't. Fans watch the games. Fans want a particular quarterback, Justin Fields. Everyone in the media says Kyle seems to want the other guy, Mac Jones. Kyle's in a position where if he takes the guy he wants, everyone is going to be so upset. Everyone wants Justin Fields. What would you do if you were Kyle Shanahan, Dad?
Okay. What I would do if I were a really good head coach, so I'm not saying if I were Kyle Shanahan, I would stick to my guns.
There you go.
I would have the strongest conviction about a player. And if I didn't have that conviction, I'd take the tight end.
There you go. Because it seems to me that there's a chance that either Fields or Jones could bust. And if that's the case, you want to go down taking your guy and not take someone else's guy, have him fail and be like, man, I should have went with my gut on that one. What was I thinking?
You have to have the strongest conviction. You have to believe in it. You have to be confident in it. And if you're not, you need to investigate. You need to do something else. That's how I would handle it. Now, I don't know Kyle. I don't know him, so I don't know what kind of person he is.
But I like what you said. If you don't have that conviction, take the tight end, because that's my whole point. I have conviction on the tight end. I could say with certainty that he's the best tight end prospect since in the last 25 years. So you got to feel that strongly about the quarterback you take over him. Otherwise, you're going to regret not taking him for the next 15 years. Last question, and then I'm going to let my dad go. Waruna says Matthew Stafford, quarterback, $226.5 million, 12 seasons, while Tom Brady, quarterback, $263 million in 21 seasons, $18 million per year versus $12.5 million per year. Any thoughts? Well, it's not really a Niner topic, but it shows you that there are some of these quarterbacks in the league whose main talent is making money. That's Matthew Stafford. It's also Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's see if they can win. Anyway.
I also feel one other thing. When you have numbers that high, I can't even comprehend it. I don't feel sorry for Tom Brady that he didn't make kind of Matthew Stafford, per season money. That's a lot of money.
Yeah. And I think what they're saying is Brady did it on purpose. Brady wasn't as greedy. Although he is married to like the richest woman in the world. His wife is so rich. She's a supermodel named Giselle, and she's richer than him. So he can afford to take like $3 million less every year and look like a team player because, his wife makes more than him. So there's not that many quarterbacks like that. Last one, I swear. Matt says, Grant, you seem to be conducting the Kyle Pitts train. Let's say they did take him. What would Kittle think about that? How would they be used together? They would be used together.
Okay. Again, I don't know Kittle, but I think I know what Kittle is made of. His attitude would be bring him on.
Bring him on. Yeah.
Makes us a better team. It doesn't take anything away from me. I'm not in it for stats. I'm in it to win.
He's not taking my spot.
That's what a competitor would say, right?
Yes, he's not taking Kittle's spot. Kittle's a much better blocker than this Pitts guy.
Yeah.
They would play on the field together in different positions. It would make the best tight end tandem ever. Oh my God, it would make the Niners. If you had any confidence in Jimmy Garoppolo to stay healthy and play well, you would make this pick. But as soon as Jimmy goes down, it's like, okay, well, here's a Ferrari, and now Nate Sudfeld, it's you. Take the keys. I understand. But whoever Kyle takes, he's got to be right about it. He's got to have ultimate conviction.
If Kittle is the person I think he is, he would welcome another tight end who doesn't take his position.
Of course. And that's Pitts. They would complement each other. Dad, thank you for giving me an hour of your time. I owe you a bottle of Mexican Red. That was a donation, not for me, for you. So let me go to Whole Foods and see what I can find.
I want you guys to know that Grant is coming over for dinner in Swansea on Thursday night.
That's right. That's right. So now you know that.
I invited Brian and Carolyn for Friday night, but they haven't yet RSVP'd. That's his brother and sister-in-law.
Brian, you better call him back. It's pressure.
Yeah, Brian, you better call me back. We want to have you Friday night and the Iglet. And Mrs. Iglet.
Apparently, you slipped and called me sweetie, and now everyone in the comment section, the entire show has been calling me sweetie. So that's okay.
I called you sweetie?
Yeah, and that's the thing. People think that my nickname is Iggy. No, at home I'm just sweetie all the time. And what happens is he would call me that in the press box, and people would look like, really? And I say, Dad, could you stop? And the funny thing is, Mike Schumann, who is our favorite, only calls me sweetie because he heard that.
That's right.
It's just the best.
Mike Schumann. I want to do a little shout out to Mike Schumann. Yeah. Mike Schumann is a great guy, and he's a good friend of the family. And whenever he sees Iggy, he says, "Hi, sweetie, how you doing?" And he makes me laugh because I used to call him sweetie in the press box.
Yeah, the origin was back when I was in college, and you were on the phone on the road, and you would often hang out with Schumann because why wouldn't you? He's the best. And you were on the phone, and you were saying, "Hey, sweetie, how you doing?" He's looking at you like, Lowell, do you have like a girlfriend or something? And I was like, no, it's my son. He's like, wait a second. What? Yeah. So I'm sweetie. Anyway, thanks for watching.
Mike Wagaman. Yeah. One time I was on the phone with you and I said, sweetie, in a press box. And he said, is that your editor? You don't feel that way about editors. I'm going to go. Hey, sweetie, I love you. I'm going to go.
Dad, I'm going to call you. You got to tell me who that person was in that story.
So you'll call me?
Yeah, I'll call you.
But I want you to guess.
I will. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll see you next week.